Hello friends, welcome back to VStudentBlog. Uh, in this is the new series of training for Nutanix. So we'll be giving some introduction about what is Nutanix, what is HCI, that is Hyperconverged Infrastructure. We'll give overview about what exactly is a Nutanix. So we'll discuss about it, and after that we'll be looking at our lab. Like we'll be working on lab. So we will work on like deploying the Nutanix hypervisor and implementing the lab. Everything we'll deeply discuss about this and before that. So what is Nutanix? So Nutanix uh, is a hyper converged infrastructure solution provider. So this is a software company which was founded in 2009, but now this is a number one HCU hyper converged infrastructure uh, provider in the field now. So mm, so if you like, apart from Nutanix, we have a couple of other products too. Like you have other companies like Nutanix. Along with Nutanix, we have Dell EMC, we have NetApp, Cisco, Microsoft, Azure Stack, HCI, SolarWind, HP, VMware. So we have a couple of vendors too. So if you see here, like I took this from the forresterwave.com, where Nutanix is leading and they are number one in this field for hyper-converged infrastructure. So this is for Q3 2020. Until now, they are leading the market. So we'll discuss about what exactly is in Nutanix and what are the components all. So what is Nutanix actually? Nutanix is a, as I told, hyper converged infrastructure solution. So if talking about the HCI, like what is exactly a hyper converged infrastructure? So if you're talking about the definition, like hyper converged infrastructure is a software defined unified system that combines all the elements of traditional data center like storage, compute, networking, and management. So in other words, it is a combination of servers and storage into a distributed infrastructure platform with intelligent software to create flexible building blocks that replace legacy uh, three-tier infrastructure consisting of separate servers, storage network, storage arrays, back panels with cables, blah blah blah, also a lot of stuff. So like it combines commodity data center server hardware with the locally attached storage devices, spinning disks or even flash disks, and is powered by a distributed software layer to eliminate common pain points associated with legacy infrastructure. So we'll discuss about the difference between the HCU and three-tier infrastructure, like historical three-tier infrastructure with some few diagrams, all stuff. Thanks to Nutanix for that wonderful diagrams to make it easy for us to understand. So before that, let me tell you like what exactly this Nutanix will do. So Nutanix is having an hypervisor, so so-called AHV, that is Acropolis hypervisor. So it do have a operating system like Acropolis operating system, and CVM is the controller VM. So going forward, we'll know more about this stuff like Prism, what is Prism element, what is Prism Central or Prism Pro, all these. So discussing about like explaining about what all these like ec- uh, Acropolis hypervisor, like uh, in Acropolis hypervisor deployments, the VM controller, that is CVM, runs as a VM, and disks that are presented using the PCA path through. So this allows the full PCI controller to be passed through direct to the CVM and bypass the hypervisor. HV is based upon CentOS KVM. Uh, Full hardware hypervisor virtualization is used for guest VMs. So this is just like our VMware ESXi server. So yeah, it's a bare metal operating system on hardware. That is about Nutanix hypervisor, and next one is AOS, that is Acropolis OS. So it is the core software stack that provides the abstraction layer between the hypervisor that is running on on-prem or the cloud and the workloads running. So it provides functionalities such as storage services, backup and disaster recovery, and yeah, much more. So this AOS provides the core functionality leveraged by workloads and services running on the platform. This includes, but it doesn't limit to that. So things like storage services, upgrades, etc. So a lot of things are there in this. So uh, like uh, in this, like Acropolis services. So an Acropolis worker runs on every CVM. So we'll discuss about CVM next. So with an elected Acropolis leader, which is responsible for task scheduling, execution, IP, IPAM, that is IP management, etc. Similar to other components like having a leader. If the Acropolis leader fails, a new one will be elected. Uh, So the role broke down for each can be like we, as we discussed, like Acropolis leader will take care of task scheduling, execution, statistic collection, publishing, network controller for hypervisors, BNC proxy for hypervisor, and high availability for hypervisor, and Acropolis worker. So it's the role of taking care of statistic collection and publishing, VNC proxy for hypervisor. So these are the few things like uh, uh, like these are all the components of Acropolis operating system. So talking about the CVM, that is controller VM, it's an one-click management and interface for data center operations. So building a beautiful, empathic, and intuitive product is core to the Nutanix platform, and something we take very seriously. This so like CVM is also acts as a storage controller, it acts as storage controller and handles the storage, IOs, everything. So it is a VM on hypervisor. Whenever you deploy a AVH like Nutanix hypervisor, CVM will be created, and that will take care of like a couple of things like storage, connectivity, communication, everything. So it is so called storage controller. So talking about the prism element, so this is for every Nutanix cluster we deployed. It's a service that's already embedded to the platform. You can completely configure, administrator, and monitor Nutanix clusters running any hypervisor, but it can only control the clusters to which it belongs. So Prism element is like it's a GUI dashboard where you can you can manage the cluster, one single one single cluster in a Prism element. Uh, you can give the virtual IP to the cluster, you can rename the cluster, couple of things we can do it in the Prism element. So we'll be browsing using an IP or in host name, while we configure, when we give IP, we'll be browsing that. So in our upcoming videos, we will be looking at that, how we'll browse Prism element, how to start cluster, how to stop cluster, all stuff we'll do in our hands-on lab. So as I said, like is Prism Central, sorry, Prism element is per cluster we will have the one single Prism element. So uh, going to the Prism Central, so it is a virtual machine, like it's a appliance actually. So it is a virtual machine or a scale out cluster of VMs, VMs programs that allow you to manage many clusters from different physical locations on a single screen and provides a organizational insight into a distributed environment. So Prism element is for one cluster, but using the Prism element, we can manage multiple clusters and from different locations in a single screen. So each Prism Central VM can manage between 5,000 to 12,500 virtual machines, whereas Prism Central instance, a cluster of three Prism Central VMs may manage up to 25 virtual machines. So uh, this is about the Prism Central, and as I said, going forward, we will work on all the components I mentioned. So what is talking about the Prism Pro? It is a feature set that can be unlocked within Central that provides uh, sophisticated analysis, sophisticated analysis and intelligent insight in the Nutanix environment. So, in simple language, like where we can see alerts like warnings, a couple of things. Like even performance, capacity planning, and like reporting, and a lot more features are available in this. So this is as I said, it's a part of Prism Central and it can be unlocked based on the license. So mm, that's about Prism Central, and going to the next screen. So this is we discussed about like what is hyper-converged infrastructure. So it's a combination of storage, compute, virtualization, and network. So uh, this is about the HCU, and if you see the node diagram, so like the below SCSI controller, SSDs, hard disk, CPU, memory. Upon that, our above that, our uh, Acropolis hypervisor runs with an CVM, like a controller VM, which directly connects to SCSI controller, and our VMs will be running above the hypervisor. So talking about the historical three-tier infrastructure and Nutanix HCI or any HCI, if you see here, like we are able to see storage connected to network. Like you need to have a switch a network switch to connect the storage and a network switch to connect server and a SAN switch to connect the storage. So you are able to see like three layers of above the three layers we are able to see virtualization. If you look at the HCI, converged computer storage and virtualization, all three are in one block and multiple servers, where you won't see any back panel with wires, cables, all everything is integrated inside, and it what are the advantages is like maintenance goes down, like the maintenance part is very less, and complicated nothing like that, everything is pretty simple to install, and space, power utilization, cooling, uh, everything matters here. So it consumes everything, like if you go to a physical data center, everything counts over there, so which will reduce your cost. So that is the advantage. And so talking about the cloud, so is Nutanix making the public cloud private or the private cloud club public? For that question, yeah, so we have a very good uh, like very good options here. So if we drive into the Nutanix platform, we can see that cluster is equipped with a traditional hypervisor. So the hypervisor is developed by Nutanix and bears the new Acropolis hypervisor. So in the cluster, when you see the we have an option to uh, like uh, configure a DR DR to any cloud like Azure or AWS. Like when you work when we start working on our lab, I can show that option where for the on-prem cluster or for the on-prem environment, you can configure a DR on the Azure or cloud. Uh, where we can when we have options to configure and your DR for the Nutanix environment will be running on AWS or Azure. So Nutanix made things pretty simple to configure with no third-party tools or complicated things. Uh, so that that is very simple and everything these are all cluster is centrally controlled from one single pane of glass with Nutanix cluster. So where you can control everything from here itself. So going to the next tab. So next uh, presentation, PowerPoint presentation. So here you are able to see the architectural diagram, like how we configure the things to from on-prem to the AWS cloud or Azure cloud. So I believe, as per my knowledge, up till now we have AWS and Azure to configure Nutanix on-prem and cloud configuration. Maybe they going forward Nutanix maybe adding the Google Cloud too. So I don't know, maybe latest version maybe it is having or still they are planning to add. But for now, till 5.20, I'm able to see only AWS and Azure. So here you can see that Nutanix environment, on-prem environment is connected to directly connected using VPN or directly connects to the Azure AWS cloud, where you can see infrastructure diagram where like it's pretty simple to understand. So this I am just sharing this for just for knowledge. So you can see we can configure to multiple clouds. If you see here, site 1, site 2, internally they are getting backed up. Sync and asynchronous replication is happening with compressed and deduplication. Same thing will be synchronized or replicate to the cloud infrastructure. You can see that Azure, AWS. So though it is mentioned GPC, I'm not sure about it, but maybe they are going to add it soon. So looking at the uh, like uh, architectural diagram of what exactly Nutanix works. So if you see here multiple nodes, three nodes you are able to see over that. Like hypervisor is x86. On that we are able to see for every node we are able to see a CVM, that is a controller virtual machine on each node, which is connected internally. Like you are able to see it's connected and they are communicating, and out of three one will be the leader and it will be replicating with the others, and if this goes down, obviously the out of two another will be selected as lead, and there won't be no downtime or no impact to the production. So we can see DAS, AS and IaaS, so managed services, SaaS. Okay, so we can see all the stuff over here, and advantage is it will use mix and match of flash drives and rotation drives, that is SATA drives. So and it uses Acropole as a distributed storage fabric controller here. So you can see like a couple of things it handles, like even self-healing, snapshots, data efficiency, resilience. So just thought of sharing this. So thanks to Nutanix, courtesy from Nutanix for these screenshots. So Nutanix OS stack, talking about like as I said, the hardware it supports. Nutanix is the Nutanix native hardware is uh, uh, micro what is that, micro hardware, and it also supports Dell, EMC, Cisco, uh, HP, Lenovo, and IBM. So AOS storage is distributed storage, and the virtualization you can go for. So major advantage of Nutanix is like you can go for AHV, Nutanix hypervisor, or even you can use ESXi. You have an option to use ESXi hypervisor or even Hyper-V. So and also couple of environments where you can configure Prism, you can configure vCenters, ESXi and VMware vCenter on Prism, where we have option to register vCenter and handle the stuff. So Prism also support like configuring the uh, ESXi, VMware ESXi2, and even Hyper-V. So this is the Nutanix AOS stack. So if you see, like this is something our three-tier infrastructure, how it will be. And if so if you see here, like you have storage controllers above the disks, and they are connected to fiber channel switches. That switches like they are computed to connected to the computer servers, computer hardware or servers. From above the servers virtualization layer, and above that app is there. App is nothing but a virtual machine, so all stuff it runs. So in here possibilities, like you may see the breakage breakdown here or here, connectivity, tons of cables, all the stuff. So if you can like re-platforming IT with Nutanix, so this is the three-tier infrastructure, and that is Nutanix HCU. So once you convert it, it pretty simple. Looking at this, like see, we have a block of servers, nodes. So above that have virtualization, and above that you are able to see apps. So it is pretty simple, nothing complicated visibility here. So here you'll tons of wires, cables, and complicated configuration stuff. But Nutanix, coming to Nutanix HCI, it is pretty simple. So coming to the patch and upgrade, Nutanix have LCM, that is life cycle management, where we can upgrade hardware, drivers, firmware. So pretty simple, you just need to update the form, uh, like when you working at the Prism, like you are able to upgrade everything, like uh, complete stack upgrades, like HBAs, everything, BIOS, BMC, everything, like using the LCM, we can do that. Even like ESXi, if you have a hypervisor as a ESXi, you can upgrade ESXi from different levels. Like so if you have 6.7, you can upgrade 6. Sorry, from ESXi 6.7 to 7. You can also upgrade vCenter using a single click from the LCM. If you have a Nutanix AHV, obviously you can do that. It will show the available upgrades, and you can go for the like a latest or N minus one, and you can upgrade it. So the best of part is like, so we can upgrade firmware, hypervisor, software, everything, and even cross vendor support is available. It's not like it will support only Nutanix, it will support multiple vendors across the cluster. So these are like other like LCM, like AOS, Prism files. When you look at the like when you log into Prism, these will be available. Where using these components, you can upgrade whatever, like all three major three places, like using the foundation, uh, so we will work on this going forward. So we'll work on LCM and we'll see what is the order of upgrading the things. So coming to the resilient from hardware failures, Nutanix is a self-healing, so begins immediately upon failure, like as I shown, like if you have three nodes, four nodes, after this this is holding ABC and it is across the network, data is syncing on the other nodes, other storage. So once if node A goes down, for example, this yes, hypervisor goes down, obviously the data across the network, the VM will be moved to the other hypervisor, like our VMware HA, and as the data is across the network, across the storage in the network, so there won't be any data loss or any downtime. So even application owners doesn't know anything about that. Once you add another host, what happens is again the data across the, like if you see here, ABC is the data which is on the second hypervisor, and it will be synced across the network. And once it is came back, obviously what happens is it will rebuild the mm, it will rebuild and perform improves with the cluster size. So it's like fully distributed, all nodes will participate in that, so it's faster than traditional uh, RAID. So this is the one more if second node goes down, still we have redundancy. Out of five, two nodes went down, but still our cluster is up and our data is available. So for like simple to scale, for compute capacity and IOPS. So if you see here, we have mix and match node types, as well as like disk types like flash and rotation disks. So data automatically rebalanced, you can see here. So performance and capability scale linearly. So these are the advantages we can see here. And talking about the licensing, uh, we have we have three type of license, where you can see like AOS starter, like core functionality is up to 12 nodes, and data storage services, and these all. So if you add on starter plus, what happens, like add on AOS Pro, like along with the starter plus starter, like we have additional options, additional uh, what do you call, options available in Pro. And above Pro we have ultimate, that is like enterprise plus, so they have everything in that. So you can see security, data protection add-on for these. So I just like what do you call, one second. So this is the from the Nutanix site, just thought of showing the license. So starter, pro and ultimate, where you see the cluster size is 12 for starter and 16 for pro, and no enforce limit on prem, 16 valid in AWS. So here also no enforce limit on prem. So we have heterogeneous cluster, VM centric snapshots and clones. So you can see here data tiering. So these are all enable, like these are all options available. And if you go for like starter or pro or ultimate, so if you go for ultimate, these are all the flash mode, VM slab mode, erasure coding, these are all available, cache deduplication. So these are all the advantages on this. So apart from that, you have multiple, like related to consolidated storage service, you have these benefits here. So Nutanix file service is available in Pro and Ultimate license. So data protection and data recovery. So these are also tons of options available here. You can go through it. Like I can share this link in the description. So this is about the basic introduction about Nutanix Nutanix HCI, that is hyperconverged uh, environment. So going forward, we will work on community edition, and we'll see if possible we will work on the actual environment. So most of the stuff I will show it on community edition. So in upcoming videos, like how to download a community edition, how to install it in your environment, so what are the requirements, and what can we do? So what is the difference between community edition and production environment? So there is not coming to the maybe a little bit difference will be there, but most of the stuff you can practice in your lab using the community edition, but most of the stuff will be same, apart from few changes, few things. But I wish I can provide as best as my knowledge, and I believe that's all for this video, and we will meet in our next session. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video is informative for you guys. And as I promised, I'm just starting videos on knowledge sharing on Nutanix, and once this is completed, definitely I will share on Zerto, uh, uh, like uh, Zerto replication. What is Zerto? How it works? What is why we use that? How can we use it? What is the advantage? All stuff I will explain in after this training session. So that's all for this video. I hope this is informative, and thanks for watching, and please do subscribe my channel, and like my videos, and for any suggestions and queries you can reach out to me on VStudentBlog @gmail.com. Thank you. Bye bye.